How are you doing today?
I'm doing well, thank you. And you?
Okay, thanks.
Good.
I've got Karen Schuett with me today of Circle of Life in Dundas, and she's going to be joining me to answer some questions about her business and if there's any changes during COVID, which I suppose there are, as there are with everybody else. So, if you could just tell us, Karen, just describe your business, if you would, please.
Yes, I'd be happy to. We are an alternative to most traditional funeral homes. We provide all the same services, but our setting is much different. We are in bright, spacious facilities. It's actually an old warehouse that we've transformed into our new facility. So we have bright colors, we have big rooms, and we have a wonderful light in our facility. And I think, Judy, you've experienced that. And many people in Dundas have had a chance to come in and just experience what we're all about.
Yeah. How long have you been there now, Karen?
We've been there 5 years this past September. And we provide cremations, we provide burials, we can have visitations, we have celebrations of life. We can just go to a cemetery with a casket or an urn if that's all you'd like. But we've also done receptions in the past, although with COVID that has changed right now. So at the moment, we're limited to just simple cremation packages and graveside services. We do have family viewings. That's something that a lot of families are looking at, where we have two people in at a time to view their loved one with 30-minute intervals so that we can clean the washrooms and anything they might have touched. And then we have the next two people come in. So that's been actually very popular as well.
Yeah, yeah, it is beautiful space. It really is.
Thank you. Thank you.
I've been there many, many times, as you well know, including with my own mom. And
Yes. Yeah.
but anyway, it's a beautiful space, and you've got some beautiful selection of urns and all sorts of things that people can use to as a keepsake
Mhm.
afterwards as well.
Yes. Yeah. We do. Yeah, we pride ourselves on our selection. I hear through the grapevine that we have probably the most extensive selection of urns and keepsake jewelry, fingerprint jewelry. We even offer pet urns and pet keepsakes.
Yeah, that's
Mhm.
fantastic. Um, how did you get into the business, Karen?
Well, I was a late bloomer. I shouldn't say that, but I was. I was 42 when my kids were grown, and I said, okay, I need a purpose. And so clear as a bell, this voice rang in my head and it said, funeral director. So I went and researched what it all entailed. So I went to Humber College. I had to upgrade my chemistry and my biology because at that time you had to learn the embalming as part of the profession. Today you don't. There are different classes of licenses, but back in 2004, I had to learn the embalming. And I did my internship in Toronto with a very large family-owned funeral home, Turner and Porter, and I worked there for 8 years. And then I came to Burlington and Hamilton, and I worked at Bay Gardens and Bayview Cemetery. I learned a lot there, which prepared me then to open up Circle of Life because I saw how the trends were changing in this industry. Most families do not want to have big visitations and fancy funerals, as they say, and they don't want to spend $15,000 to $20,000 on such a service. So they're looking for alternatives. They're looking for less expensive options, and that's what we provide. So I saw this opening in the market, and so we've designed and started Circle of Life for that purpose, to serve those people who do not want a lot of tradition. We can offer it, but most of our customers do not want the big traditional funerals. And I'll tell you, Judy, the cremation rate today is about 70%, 72% national average in Canada. Here at Circle of Life, 90% of our families choose cremation.
Okay. Is
Yeah.
it
And
changed?
I love going to the cemetery. So when someone wants to have a casket burial, I'm just in my glory.
Yeah. Has that changed
Yeah.
over the years?
It has. Cremation is on the rise. Probably it goes up a little bit every year.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yeah.
What
And
about
there are different reasons. Sorry, go ahead.
what about alternative methods like what something I understand is called green burials, I think. Is that right?
Yeah, so not all cemeteries offer green burials, but I do believe Mount Hamilton in Hamilton is starting to offer those. Green burials are really, a body is not embalmed. There often is not a casket used, it's a shroud. You can use a simple wooden casket, so it has no ornamentation, it doesn't have no lining, and that can be a green burial as well. There are often no headstones or markers because, again, those are not the most environmentally friendly things to put on a grave. So those are the green burial options that are getting more popular.
Yeah, yeah, I understand.
Mhm.
Where did
Yeah.
that movement start?
Oh, it started quite a few years ago. I think when people were realizing how damaging the embalming process can be to the environment with the formaldehyde, they were looking for alternatives. But that has changed as well. The embalming fluids have changed to move ahead with the times. So there are now formaldehyde-free embalming fluids. So if you still need to be embalmed or want to be embalmed for an open casket viewing, then there are alternatives that can be used.
Yeah, yeah. God, it's
Mhm.
got to be a tough job, Karen, for you. But I mean, that's obviously the part of it that you enjoy.
Oh,
As
I love my work. I know I don't call it a job.
yeah,
It's a calling, really.
yeah,
And
sounds
every
like
day is different. Yeah, every day is different. I meet different people all the time, all
yeah,
different walks of life and different cultures. So it's never boring and it's never the same for me.
yeah. Well, it's such an
Mhm.
important job or role that you play in somebody's life.
Thank you.
It's a great name, Circle of Life. Did you come up with that yourself?
Yeah, again, that popped into my
Yeah,
head,
I
just
thought
like
so.
funeral
Yeah,
director did. I think someone is speaking to me that I
yeah,
don't know about, but I tend to listen. So, yeah, I
yeah,
thought that was it was a different name, and it really resonates with families because it is a circle of life. We're born and we die, and
yeah,
we just cycle through.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
Apparently we do. It's hard to believe, isn't it, that we are all on that same path?
yeah,
But
yeah.
what would you say you're most proud of professionally with your career choice?
I think that I have done what I've done as a woman because typically funeral services was dominated by men. And 40, 50 years ago, to have a female funeral director was quite something, much like the medical profession. When a female was enrolled in medical school, she was maybe one out of five females in a class of 200.
Yeah,
So that I've come this far in this industry as a woman, I'm proud of that. Although there are many, many women entering the profession, and many more women are owning their own businesses like I do. And so that's wonderful to see.
yeah,
And I'm not knocking the men, there are many great male funeral directors. But the women have really been shining lately in many professions, not just in this.
it's such a caring profession, isn't it?
Yeah, yeah, it is.
Your place is really different. It's different than what you think of as a traditional funeral home because it's so beautiful and bright, and you've got lovely colored walls, and it's just a very pleasant place to be in. It's just you don't even
Mhm.
feel like you're in a funeral home, to be honest, and it's
Right.
quite lovely. And your
Thank
little
you.
dog too. Yeah.
Yeah.
Is do you have a particularly memorable experience that you could share of to do with your work? Any?
You, I meet so many different people, and the comments that I often get when we're pre-arranging and we're looking at a casket, for example, for your cremation, because by law you have to be in a minimum of cardboard.
Okay.
One gentleman said to me once, "My dear, this is my last ride. I'm not traveling in cardboard." And then I get the other end of the spectrum where they say to me, "Do I even need cardboard? Can't I be just in a bag?" And I say, "Well, no, you need the minimum of cardboard." And it's so interesting how people value different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And one gentleman, I remember, his father had passed away. He hadn't seen him in 10 years. He chose a mahogany casket for the cremation. There was no visitation, but it was the last thing he could do for his father, he felt. And so that's what he did.
Yeah.
So, we never judge. We have learned that people have different reasons for making a decision, and we're just here to serve.
Yeah. No kidding me. That's
Yeah.
fantastic. Do
Mhm.
you have any goals coming up professionally for your
Well, I just turned 59 in July. I've been licensed for 15 years. And God willing, and my health is good and my mind is good, I plan on being here for another 15 years at least.
yeah.
So and with COVID, we don't know what's going to happen, right? So it's just me working here right now by myself with my husband as my helper and our little dog, Emma. She's our greeter.
Yeah.
And as long as we can keep going, I think we will. And we'll just do the best we can to deal with the volume, because we have been extremely busy and it gets busier, it seems, every month. But so far, so good. We just keep working. And because we don't really have any hobbies outside of work that, we need to fulfill, we're very suited to this kind of work.
Yeah, it sounds like it. It just sounds like a good fit for you because your
Mhm.
husband is there, like you say, as well, and your little dog. And
Yes,
it's in Dundas. You live in Dundas, right?
I live in Dundas. Yeah,
Yeah, and it's
yeah.
yeah, it's your business, so I totally get that. It just sort of fulfills everything at the moment, so why not?
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
that sounds good, Karen. How long have you lived in Dundas?
6 years. We moved here from Toronto when I worked for Bay Gardens. And then when the idea of this business came about, we were wondering where should we open up a place like Circle of Life. And then I thought, well, why not work where I live? And Dundas really has welcomed us with open arms.
Yeah, yeah,
We've done really well, and I think we have a good name here.
yeah.
And the Dundas people are tremendous, and the shopping is awesome here. What's not to love?
I know, I know. I was just out
Mm,
for a walk with an older friend of mine the other day, and I just never get tired of walking around Dundas, the little
I
side of
know.
the
Yeah,
presidential.
yeah, it's such a quaint town,
Yeah,
and you're so close to bigger cities if that's what you'd like. If you need to have a fix with Toronto shopping, it's not that far.
yeah,
Or dining, but dining is wonderful. Ancaster, Dundas, Hamilton, there's lots of great dining here, so you really don't have to go to Toronto.
that's correct. Exactly
Yeah,
right. Is
yeah.
there anything that you would share about yourself that people might not otherwise know? Any deep dark
Um,
secrets you want to share with
Deep
us?
dark secrets. Well, I don't know. I'm pretty boring, I have to say. Um, well, I am German. A lot of people don't know that unless they detect my accent, which comes through once in a while. I was born and raised there. I was 15 when my family came to Canada, and it was quite a culture shock at that time. That was before the internet and cell phones, so you really couldn't communicate with anybody. Phone calls were too expensive. A letter took 2 weeks, so it was quite an adjustment. But I'm so glad I'm here now. It's a wonderful country.
It sure is. Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah.
quite an experience. Wait, at 15 years old. Wow.
Hmm.
What do you like to do in Dundas? What kind of things do you do? It sounds
Well,
like
the shopping is number one. I love to shop, and I
oh,
frequent I frequent most businesses here. I try
right.
not to shop outside of Dundas. Sometimes I do. And the dining was great when it was open. So now we do takeout. The Carnegie Gallery is wonderful if you need a bit of a cultural fix, or the Dundas Valley School of Arts. And when I have time, I like to go hiking. So there are some beautiful trails here.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, so
interesting.
that's basically all I have time for, and really all I want to do. I'm a homebody, so I enjoy my backyard, and I love Netflix and Crave,
Yeah,
and I like CBC, the national.
yeah, yeah.
So I watch all those faithfully.
Fantastic. Yeah.
Mhm.
So you. I know you advertise yourself as 24 hours, right? So if somebody
Yes,
calls you, is it you that answers the call, or do you
I
have?
answer the phone. No, I answer the phone at night. I think it's important when you've lost someone that you love, you need to speak to the funeral director,
Yeah,
not an answering service.
yeah,
And so for me, I feel that it is important that I answer the phone myself. So
yeah,
right now, I don't get too many calls in the middle of the night, maybe 2 or 3 a month. That's not so bad. Yeah.
yeah. Well, you do have a reputation for being extremely caring and very compassionate and sincere, and that's what you need in a person such as yourself in that role that you are in. So
Thank you, Judy.
yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
Like when my mom and I were there, it's just kind of like it's the funniest thing because you're kind of shopping, and it's just oh yeah, I like this place, and that's where we ended up.
Mhm. Yeah.
But
And that's another change, Judy. You were not alone when you were shopping.
yeah,
Used to be people had a loyalty to a funeral home that they've used in the past, or they chose one that was in their local area. Now families are shopping. They're price shopping. They're looking at how are they treated on the phone when they call, how much information do they receive? Are you being pressured into making a purchase you don't want or need? And I hear this all the time, and families come to me, they've had a bad experience. And I'm always so embarrassed for those people in our profession who still practice those things. It shouldn't happen.
Yeah.
And, it comes from the top, which is unfortunate. But here, I look at what I do and how I do things. I'm not too worried about the others, because I think if you do what you love to do and you do it well, you don't have to worry about the other companies that
Yeah.
are out there.
I know one thing you provided to my family was a checklist, which was really super helpful, because the last thing you want to do is trying to scramble and remember things that you need to do and information you
Mhm.
need to gather. And you provided a very
Yeah.
comprehensive checklist, which was really helpful.
Yeah, we call that aftercare, and it's the estate checklist. And I think most other funeral homes provide that as well. And you're right, it is helpful because you don't often know where to start, and when we check off what we've done. So we provide the death certificates, of course, and you can have 30 or 50 of them. We don't charge extra. We look after the CPP death benefit application for the one-time payment of 2,500, as well as a survivor's pension if you have a surviving spouse. So we take care of all of that, and we cancel social insurance number. We cancel CPP and old age for the month following a death. And that's so helpful because people say to me, I don't know where to even go for that.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah. People don't want to have to focus on that kind of detail, I don't think.
And has to be done at the worst possible time in your life, when you're grieving and there are all these details to attend to. Maybe it's a bit backwards. Maybe we should wait for 2 or 3 months before we have to do these things, but unfortunately we can't. Those are time sensitive things that have to be taken care of.
And if people want to come and have a look, can they just give you a call?
Yes, we're quite busy right now, so it's best to make an appointment. You can call me and then we'll set up a time to meet. Everybody's wearing masks. Our building is sanitized all the time, so it's clean. And we have just installed a very high efficiency airflow system. So it's called Surgically Clean Air, and we have 2 units in the building so that the airflow is always clean, and it disinfects, it kills all germs and bacteria. So
Fantastic.
and that was, for everyone's protection, ours as well as people coming in to meet with us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Awesome. Anything else you'd like to share, Karen, about your business?
Well, no, I'm just glad that I'm here. I can do my thing quietly here in this little corner of the world, and it's wonderful. And I've met some awesome people. And I have to say, I have to give Rotary a plug. Both you and I are members of the Rotary Club of Dundas. What a wonderful organization and all the work they do. And unfortunately, we can't meet right now, so it's all done via Zoom, but that's okay. We do well. And so we still get to see each other on a screen, and we have our agenda. So if anyone would like to join Rotary, please let me know.
There you go. Karen is our president at the moment.
Yes. Yeah.
What an odd time to be president, hey?
It's a bit strange. Yeah. Although I think I have less to do than you did when you were president.
Yeah. We just adapt, don't we?
Sure.
Yeah. And hopefully we can
do.
come back to meeting at your place again.
Yes. Yeah. When it gets better.
Yeah. All right, Karen. Well, thank you very much for your time. It was really good to see you, and I'm glad we had this chance to speak a little bit about your career. It does sound like it's basically what you were meant to do, kind of thing, doesn't it?
I think so. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a calling, like you say. It just kind of beckoned you, and here you are doing a fantastic job. And everybody who knows you and who has been to Circle of Life, I've never heard anything other than high praise for you and your place.
Thank you.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The universe is using me big time. So
Yeah,
and I'm willing.
It is important work, and not everybody can do that. I did have one question. If anybody's thinking about getting involved in this kind of a career choice, do you have any recommendations for them? Like, how do you find out if you like it before you actually get into it? Or
you could call any funeral home and ask if you can do an observation.
Okay.
So you could maybe sit in on arrangements. You could, you can observe visitations or funerals, although right now is not the best time to do that because of COVID. But that's how I started.
Yeah.
And then I went to the Humber College website. They're in Rexdale, so it's the North Campus of Humber College. And it's the only place in Ontario that offers the funeral services program. So then you can check out the funeral services program on the website with Humber College, and it will tell you the different license classes and the requirements. And it's typically 1 year of college and then 1 year of an internship. Yeah. And then you have your exams and your practical examination for an embalming if you want to take on that part of the license. And yeah, it's
Fantastic.
it's so rewarding,
I
I have
bet.
to say.
Yeah,
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 yeah.
for sure. It's such important work as well, Karen, and you do such an
Hmm.
awesome job.
Thank
Well,
you.
thank you again, Karen. It's been lovely to see you, and all the best for the rest of this year. And I'll
Thank
look
you,
forward to
Judy.
seeing you again in the new year. Right?
Yes, okay.
All
Okay,
right.
my pleasure. Thank you.
Now, okay. Bye bye.
Okay, bye-bye.